1% of the portfolio in Bitcoin. And I'm like, what would it be to 5 to 10? And they say, regulatory clarity. That's it.
So Brian Armstrong has just dropped this bomb. I think we'll see 1 million per Bitcoin by 2030. What an incredible statement. However, he does back it up with some facts. So Brian Armstrong is the CEO of Coinbase, and he basically has fought and really rallied for crypto for quite some time now. And as he says in this video, he basically can't see any more risk factors towards Bitcoin, whereas in the past they've had to fight through these channels just to get approved. Finally emerging, the US government is keeping the BTC reserve. There's a growing interest of crypto ETFs. If you add an allocation of just 1% into these ETFs, then that's trillions and trillions of dollars emerging into the Bitcoin market. Now, let's have a listen to what Brian Armstrong has to say.
So, I think the list of kind of risks is getting diminished. And at the same time, the amount of demand, like the amount of institutional money just sitting on the sidelines, waiting for this next bill to land, these are the big institutions I talk to, they're holding 1% of the portfolio in Bitcoin. And I'm like, what would it be to 5 to 10? And they say, regulatory clarity. That's it. So I think we'll continue to see huge inflows of capital. The ETFs have been huge.
As Tom Lee discusses in this video, Bitcoin is having its moment, but here comes Ethereum.
Interesting. I mean, when I think about strategy, it is really it's the whale in the Bitcoin market just because they have been buying up so much Bitcoin. So if Bitmine is taking a similar approach to Ethereum, where do you see prices for Ether going?
Well, I looked at some research from Sean Farrell, who's our head of digital asset strategy, and he put out a presentation about Ethereum today. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021, and that gets you, close to 16,000.
And as per usual, we'll go to the charts and we'll just have a look at Ethereum and how it's running. For the last 6 months, the market summary for Ether is basically fluctuant, and then all of a sudden, in the last few kind of months, it's really taken off. Okay, the reason being there's a lot of things that are getting passed in Congress, and Donald Trump's obviously an advocate. He's got his whole team working on crypto and trying to pass bills constantly to get Ethereum, all of these cryptos into exchanges, into the 401ks, which is for Australians, it's superannuation funds. So imagine you got 1% allocation for all of your clients with a 401k into crypto. Okay, so they're trying to get crypto, Solana, Ethereum into these 401ks. It actually got rejected. However, it didn't seem to bother Ethereum too much. If you look at the max chart, it's actually really, really healthy. Okay, so basically 2020 we were here and it was so cheap, and then it pumped like crazy in that bull market. Then it crashed like crazy. Bitcoin also had a crash. However, Bitcoin's crash didn't really go down as far as this. I actually bought up in this area here. I did have some down here, but I bought up a lot more here because I was just thinking this crash doesn't really make sense, and I think people FOMO'd out. They didn't want to not take profit, so these profit takers all went down and crashed, right? So here's a really good buying area, and real buying area, which is where I DCA'd. If you don't know what that means, you dollar cost average. So basically you put away what you can afford into crypto each and every week, month, day. So for me, I'd put in $10 a day. It doesn't sound like much, but over the course of this period, it ends up being, a few $100s, if not $1,000. And whatever I could put in and afford, mind you, I would put into Ethereum and other altcoin projects. So as you can see here, it pumps like crazy, dips like crazy, pumps like crazy, dips like crazy, and then we've seen this. This is the latest and crazy pump in my opinion. But if you look at what Tom Lee has to say about Ethereum, it's not crazy after all. It's basically a squeeze based on how much volume, how much is circulating supply, and how much people and institutions are pumping into Ethereum. At the moment, Tom Lee is only buying Ethereum, which is really, really exciting for me. But it's not too late to pump in. Not financial advice, but I think that Ethereum is an undervalued coin. Let's have a look here, right? People ask, how much will one Ethereum be worth in 2030? It's quite funny to see that in the year 2027, the minimum price is 11,000, and they're saying that the average price is 12,000. This is definitely not financial advice, and it's coming from this website here. However, all the analysts that I have followed are saying very similar things. Could you imagine by the year 2030, if it's worth, just say it is worth $38,000, that is an increasingly good investment. The only issue is, right, is that you've got to bear with the market. You have to hold on. And as a few of these crypto maxis say, they say, just hold it. In the past, I bought property, which I've sold. Massive mistake, right? I'm not going to make that mistake again. Doing the same things over and over again and not learning from them, that's insanity. Now, I feel that the money is easily invested into these markets, whereas in the past, it was quite hard to buy stocks and crypto wasn't even available. So what I would do is I would definitely DCA in and try to make it work that way. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll just do that after.